They say never mix love and friendship. That once a relationship ends, the bridge should burn. And yet, some people walk across that bridge again and again. They remain friends with the person they once loved. Strange? Perhaps. But what if it is not about denial, or clinging, or unresolved feelings? What if it is a quiet psychology that challenges the stories we tell about closure, attachment, and identity? Why do some hearts find comfort in continued connection, while others cannot bear the sight of their past? Is it resilience, fear, habit, or understanding? Or something deeper, something invisible, that silently guides the choices we make long after passion fades? In this exploration, we will uncover the hidden patterns, the emotional contradictions, and the truths few admit aloud about maintaining friendship with someone who once held your heart. Let's begin. There is a moment after a breakup that rarely gets spoken about. Not because it is dramatic, not because it arrives with shouting or betrayal. It is quiet, almost imperceptible. It creeps in with ordinary days, familiar routines, and lingering habits. You see them online, in a coffee shop, or hear their name in conversation. And something stirs. It is not longing exactly, not attachment exactly. It is a subtle recognition that this person once mattered deeply, and that part of your story remains intertwined. Some people choose to maintain connection immediately. They send a text. They smile when paths cross. They laugh together over memories that were once intimate. To an outsider, this may seem reckless or confusing. Well, to the heart, it is something else entirely. Comfort, familiarity, a quiet preservation of a bond that shaped who you are. Sometimes it is a fear of loneliness. Sometimes it is an unspoken understanding that the friendship carries a different weight now. Lighter, safer, yet tethered to history. You may ask yourself, why remain? Why not let go completely? Because endings are rarely absolute. Emotions do not switch off like a light. Memories linger. Patterns persist. Shared experiences create invisible threads that do not break overnight. And sometimes, maintaining contact is not denial of loss, but acknowledgement of significance. A way of honoring a chapter without reopening the wounds. Yet, this choice is not without tension. Social eyes are judgmental. Advice books declare boundaries, ultimata, and closure rules. Friends shake heads, a warning of false hope or unresolved feelings. And inside, a dialogue begins.
So young then.
Am I clinging? Am I weakening? Or am I simply allowing a natural evolution, a transformation from romantic attachment to deep companionship? The psychology of staying friends after love is not simple. It is layered, complex, and profoundly human. It challenges myths of closure and independence, asking us to question whether the heart always obeys logic. Some continue because they are afraid of erasing themselves. Some continue because they have learned to separate love from ownership. Some continue because the connection, once romantic, is now a mirror reflecting growth, memory, and resilience. This is the quiet continuation. Neither reckless nor foolish. Neither sentimental nor empty. It is a delicate negotiation between what was, what remains, and what you are becoming. A subtle rhythm of presence and absence, of remembering and letting go. And in that rhythm lies the first hint of understanding. The first glimpse of a psychology few acknowledge aloud. That ending love does not always mean ending connection. We carry our past with us long before the first "I love you" or "I am leaving" is spoken. Our attachment patterns are formed quietly, in rooms where affection was inconsistent, in moments where approval was earned and withheld, in the subtle lessons of childhood about trust, closeness, and safety. These invisible blueprints do not vanish at the altar of adulthood. They accompany us into every connection, coloring the way we hold on, let go, or return. Some who remain friends with their ex carry anxious tendencies, hearts shaped by early uncertainty. And they seek reassurance continuity, a bridge back to a familiar rhythm that feels safe even when romantic love fades. Others carry avoidant tendencies seeking independence, yet paradoxically valuing connection. To them, friendship is a controlled way to maintain closeness without risking vulnerability. Both patterns are neither right nor wrong. They are human-layered and profoundly shaped by unseen histories. The roots of attachment also intertwine with unmet needs and early experiences of love. If care was conditional, they may cling to bonds that feel familiar even when romance dissolves. If love was scarce or unpredictable, they may return to friendships with exes as a way to reclaim a sense of belonging or to rewrite the story that once caused discomfort. Yes, these tendencies are subtle, often unspoken, and rarely acknowledged by those observing from the outside. And yet, it is not only about deficiency. Some remain friends out of gratitude, a recognition that the other person shaped them profoundly. Shared history becomes a connective tissue that defies endings. These friendships are an expression of adaptability, a psychological skill that allows the heart to honor the past while navigating the present. Understanding attachment in this context is not about labeling weakness or moral failure. It is about tracing the invisible lines that guide human connection. It is about recognizing that our choices, who we stay close to, who we maintain as friend, who we walk away from, are echoes of histories lived long before we were ready to name them. When you see someone remain friends with an ex, it is rarely impulsive. It is a dance of memory, safety habit, and lingering emotional resonance. It is a negotiation between longing and growth, between fear of loss and desire for continuity. And in understanding these roots, we begin to see the quiet, invisible forces shaping decisions that others may misunderstand, judge, or even envy. This is the origin of the quiet psychology, a map of emotional history that explains why some bonds survive even when love changes form. Human emotions rarely follow rules. They twist and layer in ways that feel illogical even to the person experiencing them. Staying friends with an ex is one of those complexities. It is not always about lingering love or inability to let go. It is a subtle mixture of memory, longing, fear, curiosity, and understanding. Each interaction carries echoes of past intimacy and the silent weight of what was once shared. Some moments are comforting. A joke shared, a familiar gesture, a glance that recalls warmth and understanding. These fragments of connection are not betrayal or weakness. They are reminders of a bond that shaped identity and perspective. Yet at the same time, these moments can trigger tension. Nostalgia and reality collide. Feelings of loss mingle with relief. Recognition intertwines with regret. And the heart sits in contradiction, holding opposing truths at once. Psychology explains this as cognitive dissonance and emotional ambivalence. The mind seeks consistency, but the heart holds on to memory. People navigate this tension quietly, adjusting behavior, monitoring feelings, and negotiating their internal landscape. And they may question their own motives. Are they maintaining connection out of care, comfort habit, or fear? And they may notice subtle shifts in attachment patterns resurfacing in response to each interaction. Emotional complexity in these friendships is rarely static. It evolves over time as boundaries are tested and experiences accumulate. Some connections become stable, supportive. Others remain fragile and unpredictable. The interplay of intimacy, autonomy, attachment, and past conditioning creates a dynamic emotional terrain that cannot be fully mapped. It is experienced moment by moment with attention and self-awareness. Recognizing this complexity allows a gentle understanding of why some people remain friends with those they once loved. It is not simple. It is not always clear. It is profoundly human. And it is an acknowledgement that emotional life is rarely neat and often resists the expectations society places on closure and separation. This complexity is the heartbeat of the psychology of staying connected. It shows that endings do not erase significance and that the human capacity for layered emotion can hold both past love and present friendship simultaneously. There is a tension that lives quietly within those who remain friends with an ex. It is not always visible to the outside world. It does not announce itself with drama. It sits beneath ordinary moments, like a shadow at the edge of perception. One part of you seeks closeness, continuity, and understanding. Another part insists on distance boundaries and emotional safety. Both are valid, yet contradictory. Both demand attention. Guilt often accompanies this conflict, and guilt for maintaining connection when others have ended it. Guilt for feeling comfort in presence that once belonged to love. Judgment from friends, family, or society can intensify this internal dialogue, and so the mind creates questions that spiral quietly. Am I holding on out of fear or care? Am I betraying myself or them? Am I rewriting the past or simply acknowledging it? These questions do not always have clear answers. The heart experiences duality. Moments of laughter can be tinged with melancholy. Conversations can feel warm, yet weighted. Seeing an ex succeed or struggle triggers complex emotions that are neither simple jealousy nor pure joy. Memory and reality collide constantly, shaping perception and emotional response. Psychologically, this is a negotiation between attachment and autonomy, between past and present, between longing and growth. It requires continual self-reflection to balance desire for connection with respect for change and personal evolution. The conflict itself becomes a teacher, revealing vulnerabilities, priorities, and the patterns of the heart that otherwise remain unnoticed. Internal conflict is rarely resolved quickly. It ebbs and flows with circumstances, with mood, with life changes. Some learn to live with it gracefully. Others struggle silently. In every case, it is a quiet acknowledgement that human emotion is layered, that love and friendship are not always distinct, and that the path of connection after romance requires both courage and introspection. Recognizing this inner tension is the first step toward understanding the subtle psychology behind staying friends with someone once loved. It is an invitation to observe without judgment and to honor the complexity of human feeling. People rarely remain friends with an ex for a single reason. Motivation is layered and often invisible, shaped by conscious choice and unconscious influence alike. Some continue out of gratitude for shared history, a recognition that the other person shaped who they are. Others do so from nostalgia, holding on to memories that provided joy and identity. And some remain connected simply because separation feels like erasure, as if ending contact would diminish their own sense of self. Motivations are rarely purely logical. Desire for validation, the comfort of familiarity, or even curiosity about a past life intertwine with genuine care and respect. Sometimes staying friends is a gentle negotiation between wanting presence and avoiding emotional vulnerability. The heart measures risk and reward quietly, observing how connection impacts self-perception, emotional balance, and personal growth. The psychology behind this choice is subtle. People may question themselves constantly. Am I staying for them or for me? Am I holding on to hope or simply honoring history? These questions rarely have neat answers, yet they shape the decisions people make in daily interactions. Motivation is both mirror and compass, reflecting personal needs while guiding behavior. Some friendships thrive because motivation aligns with clarity and boundaries. Others remain complicated because unspoken expectations, lingering feelings, or fear of judgment obscure intention. Recognizing the why behind the connection allows for gentleness toward oneself and understanding toward the other. It transforms what might be perceived as weakness into an expression of psychological complexity, emotional resilience, and adaptability. Understanding motivation in this context does not demand action or resolution. It is about seeing the invisible currents that guide human connection, acknowledging both the heart's needs and the mind's concerns. In doing so, we gain insight into the quiet, invisible psychology of staying friends with someone we once loved, appreciating that human behavior is rarely simple and always deeply human. Friendship after love requires navigation. Boundaries become essential yet fluid, and they are not rules imposed by others, but agreements we make with ourselves to protect emotional well-being while preserving connection. Some interactions are gentle and safe. Others risk reopening old vulnerabilities. Each encounter carries a subtle negotiation between closeness and autonomy, between familiarity and change. Boundaries are shaped by experience. A text answered too quickly may trigger expectation. A meeting too frequent may stir memory. The mind and heart learn to read subtle cues and adjust. Silence becomes a boundary. Distance becomes a boundary. Even the choice to laugh or hold back becomes a small act of self-regulation. Through this, people manage the tension between lingering attachment and the need to evolve independently. Social perception also plays a role. Our friends and family may not understand the careful dance of post-romantic connection. Advice often leans toward cutting ties, yet emotional life rarely conforms to simple solutions. Boundaries must honor reality rather than ideology, prioritizing psychological safety while respecting the significance of shared history. Psychologically, boundaries are not walls, but frameworks. They allow presence without overwhelm, connection without confusion, and interaction without regression. They are the invisible lines that prevent old wounds from reopening while permitting the relationship to continue in a transformed, mature form. Navigating boundaries is not a static skill. It evolves over time as feelings, circumstances, and personal growth change. It requires awareness of both self and other, continuous reflection, and gentle adjustment. It is a process that honors complexity, reduces conflict, and cultivates trust, clarity, and stability. This chapter highlights that post-romantic friendship is less about rigid separation and more about mindful coexistence. It is the subtle art of maintaining connection without losing oneself, of preserving history while embracing present and future growth. Boundaries become the invisible architecture that supports the heart in a space both safe and meaningful. Friendship with an ex can become a mirror reflecting personal growth. It reveals patterns once unnoticed, habits once unquestioned, and emotional responses once automatic. Through continued connection, people often gain insight into themselves, their attachment styles, and the ways they navigate intimacy. Acceptance grows quietly as awareness deepens. Acceptance is not resignation. It is recognition. Recognition that the past shaped the present, that the other person was part of a shared story, and that both parties have changed. It is the understanding that love evolves, that endings can coexist with connection, and that human relationships rarely fit into neat categories. Growth comes from observing emotions without judgment, learning from discomfort, and allowing space for both longing and release. This growth is subtle, yet profound. Old anxieties may diminish as boundaries are respected. Lingering regrets may soften as perspective widens. Emotional complexity becomes less threatening and more informative. Friendships transform from remnants of romance into relationships grounded in mutual understanding and respect. Psychologically, growth and acceptance in these connections reflect adaptability, and they show the heart's capacity to honor both attachment and autonomy. They reveal resilience in managing cognitive dissonance, the ability to tolerate ambiguity, and the skill of maintaining meaningful connection without dependency. Growth also nurtures forgiveness, toward oneself and toward the other. It allows mistakes to exist without defining the whole. It allows memory to coexist with reality. And in this space, acceptance does not erase emotion. It integrates it. It turns lingering tension into awareness, old longing into insight, and potential pain into wisdom. By cultivating growth and acceptance, people learn that friendship after love is not a compromise or failure. It is a conscious choice that balances memory with reality, connection with independence, and emotion with reflection. And it becomes a testament to the human heart's ability to adapt and thrive amidst complexity. There is a quiet poetry in remaining connected to someone who once held your heart. It is not loud or dramatic. It is not about rekindling love or rewriting history. It is about noticing the subtle threads that continue to tie lives together. Threads of shared memory, understanding, and humanity. The heart learns to carry what was precious without being consumed by it. Reflection comes gently. Moments once charged with romance now carry tenderness, appreciation, and sometimes melancholy. The laughter still sparks, the stories still resonate, but the intensity softens into familiarity and care. In this transformation, the relationship finds a new rhythm. It honors the past without erasing the present, and it allows both people to exist fully in their own growth while acknowledging the impact they had on each other. Psychologically, this closure and reflection are acts of integration. Memory and reality merge. Emotional resonance coexists with boundaries. Understanding replaces confusion. Acceptance replaces resentment. And in this space, the heart finds calm. The friendship is no longer a remnant of what was lost, but a living expression of what remains meaningful. This poetic closure does not signify perfection. It does not claim that all feelings are resolved. It simply creates a space where complexity is held with grace, where attachment can be honored without being binding, and where love in all its forms, past and present, can exist peacefully within the mind and heart. Reflection allows growth to be felt, and it allows history to be appreciated, and it allows the soul to recognize that relationships evolve not just in endings, but in transformations that reveal depth, resilience, and quiet beauty.